Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video right here on Free Will Photos. Today we're going to be looking at using the tether feature inside of ON1 Photo Raw. Now, before we jump into it, let's go over a few reasons why you would want to use the tethered option. First reason that I can think of is you're inside of a studio setting and you want to get the pictures from the camera straight into the computer so you can edit the pictures instantly, right? That's the first time. The second time is if you're working with a client in the same situation where you're inside of a studio, you may want to show your clients what you're working on and what the final product will look like. And then you can set a preset, as you'll see here in a little while. As you take the picture, a preset gets applied. This is a fantastic way to work. Now, I do have to give a disclaimer. If you are using any other camera system besides Canon and Nikon, your camera will not work with ON1 Photo Raw. You're more than welcome to try, but unfortunately, you have to have a Canon or a Nikon camera in order for this feature to work. So, now that we kind of have the use behind, or out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the computer. And I'm doing all of this live because I'm preparing for the live stream. Let me rephrase that. I'm not doing this live, and you can hear my dog in the background. He's probably going to walk over there somewhere. I'm not doing this live in the regards of... Thanks, Mr. Waffles. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Waffles. I'm doing this live into the drive, one take with very minimal editing on the back end. That's what I meant to say. So here's the deal. We're going to jump over to the camera. You're going to see me struggle with some of this stuff, and we're going to hop right into the computer. So let's go. All right, so here we are inside of ON1 Photo Raw. And as you can see, I've already been taking some images with this little figure set that you're going to be able to see here in a little bit. But inside of the browse module, and I'll hide this for a second so that way you can see, and then I'll even hide advanced search. So now we have tethered shooting. What you're going to do is click on the blue little bubble here and give on 1 second a little while to think about this. And as you can see, I have no camera. Now, I'm going to turn on my camera here in a second, but I highly recommend that you start with building your workspace first and then jumping into getting your camera connected. So the very first thing that I'm going to do here is hit the drop down. I know that I'm using a Canon EOS R, so that's what I'm going to select there. As you can see, it says no camera because it's turned off. And then the very next option that I'm going to select is import settings. So let's go ahead and click that bad boy. And this brings us to pretty much the brains of operating this particular feature. All right. It brings us to the brains. And it's actually very straightforward. If you've been using ON1 Photo Raw, you're going to feel right at home because there's nothing crazy new inside of this box. Because it's all about organization. What do you want ON1 Photo Raw to do when you take a photo? So the very first thing, whenever the camera takes a photo, I have to choose a destination. Now, I've already selected the destination, but let's pretend that I want this in a completely different subcategory. And I need a new folder inside of the destination. So I already have, as you can see in the background there, Plastic Nights. If I check the little blue box here, it's going to give me an option to create a new folder. So the segments I'm going to segment this shoot if you're coming from Lightroom. I use Tether inside of Lightroom a lot, and I'm using some of the same terminology. So please forgive me if you're not familiar with it. But we're going to call it a new folder because that's what ON1 Photo Raw calls it. I'm going to go ahead and label this horse and night. And the reason is because I'm taking pictures of the horse and the knight together in this particular instance. All right. You don't really have to worry about the more features, but say you needed to back this up onto another hard drive, you have the opportunity to come here and you can choose a location. I'm not worried about that because it's going to save to the SD card inside of the computer as well as to the hard drive that I'm burning all of these images onto. The next one is into one folder, how I want it to be organized. And you can organize them by month, year, and month. You get the point there. I'm not going to worry about that because for today's purposes of using Tether mode, it's not that big of a deal. Now, here's where I think this really shines. All right. You can rename the files as they're being burned into the computer. So if you have like a naming structure that you commonly use, you can just go ahead and throw that in here. Unfortunately, there are not any presets that you can use with this. At least I haven't figured that out yet. If I do, I'll make an update to it showing you that you can do that. Or you can catch me live on the 27th of March and you'll be able to see the me using the tethered feature because that's going to be a part of the live stream. So stay on the lookout for that. All right. We're going to leave this labeled as Plastic Nights, and I'm okay if it is another number 15. The next thing is the metadata. As you can see, I have my preset in here. If you have a preset for your metadata, which I highly recommend, shout out in the comments below if you want to see a video on putting metadata into photos and creating these presets. But I'll give you like the very short version. You can literally make your preset of whatever metadata that's down here, and then you just come up to where it says preset, you hit the drop down, and then you click save new preset. So if I wanted to make a preset for these, for the keywords nights and toy with my name and my copyright information, I can literally come in here and do save new preset, or I can even delete a preset. I'm not going to worry about that because it's not really a thing that is required for this particular tutorial. All right. And as you can see, you will burn all of this metadata into your image while you are taking the photo. So you can use that to the best of your ability. Now, here is the segment of why shooting tethered becomes so helpful. All right. What you have here is the photo settings. Right now, I'm not going to shoot with any preset because once I get the presets going, you'll see how that's going to work out. And then the next thing is use settings from previous edit. I'm going to show you how both of these work. Right now, I just want you to realize that add preset is set to none and use settings from previous edit is also unchecked. All right. That's very important to pay attention to just for this particular segment. So I'm going to hit start shooting and you're going to see something interesting happen. I hit start shooting and I guess I should turn on my camera. And I know that the OS utility is probably going to turn on here in a second because that's how it likes to work. Yep, there it goes. All right, cool. So as you can see, I now have my Canon EOS R connected through the USB-C cord, and it gives me options for my exposure to my camera. Now, before I go too far, I want to show you that I don't have any like special connections. So let me switch back over to the big camera. And so right here, you can see all I have is a USB-C cord connected to the EOS R, and I'm using my 35mm RF lens with this. So let's go ahead and get back into taking the photos. So I'm just going to go ahead and aim at my my little figure here with the settings that are on and just snap a photo. We're going to see if it comes into ON1, and boom, there you have it. It's coming into ON1. You can see the exposure. Let me go ahead and zoom into this just a little bit more. And there you have it. Okay. As you can see over here on the right hand side, all of my metadata has come in, and I have a photo that just came into the camera. Came into the computer. This is saved on the hard drive inside of my folder that's called horses. And I hope I spelled that right. I don't think I did. Oh well. And you can see all of the other information. Look, there's nothing mind-blowing about this piece particularly. However, I do need to change my mode. And that's one thing you're not going to be able to do. I need that to be in manual mode. And I'm going to change my ISO from auto. Because if you look up here, my ISO is set to 1000 or 12,800. I don't want that, right? Mostly because I'm about to start photographing this with a flash. So I have my camera now set to 400, 1/25th of a second at 5.6. I am going to focus this back on the little knight, take a photo, and we're going to see that photo pop up in here in a little while. Someday. There we go. And as you can see, this photo is a lot more dark because the ISO is turned down. Now, I'm going to go ahead and enter in my flash by simply turning on my flash. Let me make sure it's connected. Yep. All right. Perfect. Now, we're going to go ahead and take another photo. This one should look way different because I now have entered in the flash. Now, the flash has absolutely nothing to do with tethered shooting, other than the fact that I thought it would be cool to throw that in here today. Here's what I'm going to show you. We're going to go ahead and open up this particular photo. So I just double click on it, or I'm going to hit edit. I guess I have changed some settings in my ON1. It doesn't like to work the way that it's supposed to. So there we go. We have the photo open. It's still loading. Come on, hurry up. Sometime today. There we go. Boom. We have a photo in here. I'm going to make some very, very obvious changes just to show you what I'm talking about when it comes to the using previous settings here in a second. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and I am going to make an infrared LUT. Is that obvious enough? Yeah, that looks way different. And I'm also going to throw up the contrast and maybe even saturate this a little bit more. You know, now it looks like way more medieval, fits their character. And, you know, shout out in the comments if you think that that's cool. If not, it's okay too. All right. And if you're finding value in this video, don't forget to smash the like button. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to take another photo. I'm going to hit import settings. This is going to bring me back to the import setting device. I'm going to now check this little circle that says use settings from previous edit. And I'm going to uncheck the new folder because I want to keep everything inside this little horse and knight thing. And I'm going to hit start shooting. So when I take a photo, all the pictures are still going to show up in the same area. This time, when I take the photo, you're going to see the photo pop in first. And man, my chair needs some WD-40. Well, my computer's processing a lot faster. So this time, you've seen that the photo came in and it has the edit on it. Now, just so you know that I'm not like messing around with you, I am going to take this little character and I'm going to face him down on the ground so that way you can see that this is a brand new photo every time that I take the photo. And in fact, I am going to photograph. There we go. Boom. We'll do that. And now you're going to see the new photo come in to the computer. And we got the little character laying on the ground, just like right there. And we have the knight over here. And as you can see, I also have the setting of the preset. or I'm sorry, of the last photo. So what that means is, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this photo again, or this photo, not again, because this is a whole new photo. And this time, instead of the infrared, we're going to do a different type of effect. So I am going to take off the infrared LUT, and I will add, what is it? You know what? We'll add a texture over it. Or, yeah, we'll add a texture. All right. And we'll see that looks okay. But I don't want subtle. I think I want normal. And I'm going to actually colorize this. And we'll colorize it to yellow. Nah, yellow won't be good enough. Let's go with blue. We'll go with a darker blue. If I can, let me just open this up. All right, there we go. And maybe even go with replace. There we go. Now you can see that this is like completely dramatic in its approach. It makes no sense, but I just want to show you the, or illustrate to you how this works and changes. Now, hopefully, you know, if you've watched my photo editing video, you know that edits should be subtle unless you're going for an effect, in which case today I am for this illustration. I'm going to go ahead and take another photo, and we are going to see, this time I'm going to take a photo of the knight facing the other knight on the horse. So, and I'm going to focus on that knight. Boom. And now you can see the photo pops in, or the pixelated version, and boom, there goes the settings. Those are the last settings that were on the photo. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and reset all the settings on this image. And I want to show you the next thing that was inside of the import settings. So I'm going to click here again on the import settings, and then I'm going to uncheck this that says use settings from previous edit. This time I want to import using we'll go with a black and white filter, and it doesn't really matter which one. I'm just going to use black and white 10, and we'll hit start. Nothing has happened because I didn't take a photo. So if you find yourself in a situation where you go to import settings, you check the block, and then you go and you're like, oh man, the photo didn't change. That's because you have to take a photo for this particular thing to work. So I'm going to take a photo this time. You can see that the photo went off, and eventually the image is going to pop up. Boom. It is now in black and white. Now, this is a completely powerful tool that you can use. You have it at your disposal as long as you have a Canon or a Nikon camera. That is a disclaimer, and that is a challenge. I'm not gonna lie, I get it. But if you have, and I haven't figured out how to do a watch folder for ON1 Photo Raw, although I figure you would be able to do a watch folder. I'm gonna have to try this out. That'll be a different video. Not gonna worry about it. All right. So what you're gonna do is, or the last thing that I want to talk about inside of the tether shooting option is the settings that you can manually adjust on your camera. So as you can see, I was shooting at 500 ISO, 1/25 of a second, and 5.6 for my aperture. Now, if I wanted to boost this up, let's say, I think f22 is the maximum. Yeah, f22 is the max. So I'm gonna just max it out. Let's see what happens when I take a photo at f22. I bet you I'm just gonna get a super dark photo, because even on the back of the screen for the exposure sim, yeah. So, and that could be something that is very creative, right? Taking pictures of these really small items. It's a dark black and white photo. Let's try and get a little creative here. I'm gonna go full screen with the ON1 Photo Raw here, and I'm gonna go into the details so that way we're not looking at all those other images. I'm just gonna close this out with a quick little edit. for those of you who have watched to the end, I really appreciate that. And what I'm going to do is open up some of these shadows, and look at that. That's already like a pretty cool effect, right? Let's see here. Maybe throw in a little bit of contrast to really make, this a little bit more grungy. And we'll open up some of those midtones, and maybe we'll mess around with the highlights just a tad. So that's obviously global. And again, you can do all kinds of stuff. I'm going to go with the crop tool, and I'm going to just crop this down real quick. And go this away. Maybe like that. Sure, why not? All right. So now that's pretty cool. But you know what? I want to add a layer to this. So I'm going to click on layers. It was hidden there for a second. Actually, this is a good point. I had a question in the comments of one of my videos. If you don't see your layers, but you see the word layers, click just to the right of that. It opens up your layers options here. And this time I'm just going to hit the plus icon. Or no, I'm not. I lied. I'm going to hit the paint bucket. And we're going to make a fill layer of yellow. I don't know why I want something yellow today, but I want something to be in yellow. So I'm going to make it yellow, and it's going to cover the entire thing. I'm going to come over here and play around with some of these blend modes and, see what I can do. I wonder what happens with color. Color seems to be pretty cool. What about saturation? Nah, that doesn't do anything because there's no colors to saturate. And that's kind of cool, in a posterized kind of way. But we're going to just go with color. We'll go with color. All right. It's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to go ahead and hit done. Now, I am going to take another photo. You've seen that I made all these edits. Once this saves, import, and we will go with use last settings, and then we're going to hit start shooting again. And this time, if all worked out just fine, and I'll take it as nope, it's got to be landscape. And let me turn him around. Okay, let's see what happens here. In theory, the photo is going to import black and white, and it does not throw the yellow piece on there. I thought that would be cool to try. Never tried it before, but yeah. So there you have it. Using Tethered inside of ON1 Photo Raw, you can absolutely do that. If you found anything useful in this video today, go ahead and smash the like button. If there's questions that you have that are specific to ON1 Photo Raw, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. I get back to all of the comments. Sometimes I'm a lot faster and sometimes I'm a lot slower, but I do get to them. And again, I did mention it throughout the live stream. I did mention it during the recording, but I have a live stream coming up on March 27th. That's going to be at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Based on what your time zone is, it's going to be 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have a photo that you want to see me edit, then please send it to freewillphotos@gmail.com. You can find that in the description box below. Now, if you're new to ON1 Photo Raw and you are like, hey, I just want to kind of try this out, see if it works for you, then go ahead and go into the description box. There's a download link or a link that will take you to the ON1 Photo Raw website. You can download a trial and give it a test. If it's something that you like, you go ahead and buy it. If you do buy through that link, it helps this channel continue to grow so I can bring content just like this to you. So until next time, I want you guys to stay inspired and keep creating. Peace.